Hi, this is Angela of Ascended World bringing you today's element 3 of the course in Guidance and Hidden Messages as part of the Adventures in Wonderland program. And so today's topic is what guidance is not around expectations. And we have this idea many times. There's my yawn right away. We have these expectations as to what guidance is supposed to be, right? We think the skies are going to part. We think the angels are going to blow their trumpets, or we're going to hear some music. And we're sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and because we want that, or that's what we expect. And we're getting 5,000 other messages in our day-to-day life. And yet we're saying, I'm not getting any messages. I'm not getting any guidance. Nothing is coming through because it's not coming. And the real answer to that is because it's not coming through in the way that I'm expecting it. So therefore I'm blind to the other ways that it could come to me. So we think it has to be some big miraculous thing or whatever versus, an injury in my body or sickness or, something somebody in our family says to us or something somebody like several people say to us, or even a billboard or colors. And, we're talking about all of these elements this month about how they can be messages and reminders to us in terms of guidance. But since we haven't, there's somebody I know who says all the time, oh, give me the blaring neon sign. And she's always like, oh, I'm not getting my guidance. And I'm like, well, I don't know. The more I talk to her, the more I'm like, oh, well, there's some guidance right there that you're ignoring. Oh yeah, but that's not this, right? Okay, well, you're getting guidance over here on this. And it's the same thing. And so it sounds a lot like there's a parable or a joke or whatever you want to call it that Sarah always uses in explaining this. It's like the one where the guy is sitting on top of a roof because there's a flood, right? And somebody comes by in a canoe and they're like, let us help you. And the guy's like, oh, no, the Lord will save me. I'm good, thank you. They go on their merry way. And then a big, a big like Coast Guard boat comes and, they're like, no, come on, let's get you out of there. And he's like, no, the Lord will save me. I'm good. And then like a helicopter comes in and like, well, come on. And the guy's like, no, the Lord will save me. And then the guy dies and he goes to the pearly gates. And then the guy says, Lord, you let me down. I was confident that you were going to save me. And now look at what I am. And God said, listen, I sent you a canoe, the Coast Guard, and a helicopter. What else do you want me to send you? But that's what we do with guidance all the time. And so I always say, we never have like plan A, B, and C in terms of remembering and giving ourselves messages. We have like triple X, triple Y, triple Z, and beyond that. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and louder and more emergent as we ignore them or choose to be blind to them. And we do choose to be blind with them because of the expectations we've created through separation, through our beliefs that we're not worthy enough to have them easily and simply. I mean, even in the worksheet today, which doesn't really indicate what we were talking about in the expectations, is guidance from expanded consciousness comes to me easily and clearly. And so we think it's got to be through this certain venue, right? We think it has to come through a priest or a rabbi, or we have to think it has to come through, some well-known spiritual figure or whatever, excuse me. But in essence, we're giving ourselves guidance all the time. And when I say that, it doesn't matter how you see it from an expanded consciousness perspective, whether you want to say, okay, this is the matrix that we've created from outside of it, and we are in it as much as we're outside of it. And so we're sending ourselves messages to remind us to see certain things because that's part of the game we wanted to create in separation, is to remember the puzzles of the big picture. Or that we're just part of that consciousness of the wholeness, right? And that in separation we've forgotten and we just send ourselves messages all the time. And it can be in the face of angels. It can be in the face of ascended masters, which is just another facet of ourselves at an expanded perspective of consciousness, not necessarily translated in the way we expect them though. So translations are another day. So we're just talking about expectations right now. So the biggest thing here is allowing guidance to come in whatever way is going to be palatable to you and easy and clear. And the commitment on our part is to say, I commit myself to considering everything as guidance so that I can see the bigger picture. Because sometimes well, not sometimes, almost every time you are going to get guidance from all these different areas and all at the same time. And it's almost like you're giving yourself this hologram of the picture. Now, in the beginning, when you first start listening to your guidance or paying attention to it, or retraining yourself to hear it and understand it, you're going to want to do it in a very linear fashion. So then when things come in, you'll be like, oh, look, there's guidance on this. And then you take that as the whole guidance. But because a lot of times it's multifaceted and holographic, it's going to come to us through, say, this conversation with your friend Sue, or in the car, you're going to see something on a billboard, and you might have a dream about this, and then something happens with somebody in a store that you get triggered by, and all of them could be related. So what I tell people all the time is how important journaling is, because when you do that, you can start to connect all these dots, because in the holographic sense, that's when we really do get truly the full message. And I can't tell you how many times over the years I have gotten a certain message and I thought I understood it because I tried to translate it. Instead of stopping and saying, is this the full thing right here? More times than not, it was, no, this is a piece of it. Look at all this, because this all ties it together, because we're used to looking at things in such a linear fashion. So it's a retraining, it's a rehabituation. And when we allow ourselves all possibility in terms of how the messages come to us, and then we can allow it. So that is regardless of whether it comes in joy or pain or sorrow or whatever, but also in everyday things, everyday conversations, music on the radio, you know, like I said, conversations with people, something on the billboard, a license plate in front of you, a color you're seeing repetitively, a number you're seeing repetitively. There's all this stuff, and this is all we're covering in this course. So our focus here today is to allow ourselves that opening, right? To let go of the expectations of what guidance is supposed to be in our minds, to say, okay, well, I'm going to allow it to come however it can come to me. And I will commit myself to allowing somehow a way to process that consciously so that I can do it before it becomes this emergent huge thing. And that like what I've done, for example, when we talk about, say, our bodies, right? We're going to talk about that too this month in this course. We manifest sickness and injury, no matter what kind of an accident it looks like, or whether we think it's genetic, whatever. These are all messages that we are creating, and our bodies are one of our biggest core billboards to ourselves, right? And so when we commit to seeing all the pieces, and we stick by our commitment and we follow that guidance unquestioningly, then we don't have to progress the guidance to be louder and louder and louder, screaming in our ear, and so that we break our bodies. And I did a long time ago say, all right, I commit myself to seeing, getting the guidance, to being aware of it, and so that I don't have to have it manifest in my body as illness or sickness. And I'll tell you what, it went away. And on the occasion that I get some weird dissonance in my body, on the very rare occasion that happens, I'm like, oh, this is big, because if I even let this get into my body, it means I've been ignoring other messages around it. And that pulls me in like a huge red flag, because I'm like, nope, I'm going to deal with this right now before it gets any bigger. So things to consider. All right, so our creation statement for today is, I am ready, willing, and able to connect to my holistic, expanded consciousness guidance, totally free of expectations and preconceived answers. I allow and trust my guidance easily. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, open your heart, step out of separation, back into oneness, where we hold ourselves in the vibration, where this is our truth. This is this is the place from where we experience, from where we create, and from where we exist. All right. Big stuff came up there. I just keep on seeing some heavy duty things going. Yeah, this is guidance. You see, this is guidance. This too, which we're all covering this month. So, or this month, in this course. So, whew. Stay with that. And today's affirmation to work with in your journal and everything else is, I allow and trust my guidance easily and clearly. And again, as we go through this month, it's going to be a lot about starting to pay attention to all these little, clues and seeing them in all different ways. So thank you for joining me. Have a great one. We'll see you for the next element. Bye.